Chris Plant is a nationally syndicated radio show host and a keen observer of the media, having worked in television media for many years, and he joins us tonight. We haven't talked about this, but whatever happened to Lisa Bloom? She seemed to run at the first sound of gunfire. Here she was, this great defender of women. Of course, she's a feminist hero. Where is she now?
She's in the witness protection program. She's probably on a mega yacht somewhere in Indonesia because obviously she was humiliated. She came out and spoke for the women when Roger Ailes, when Bill O'Reilly were in the dock, and then when Harvey Weinstein, as he's now known, I think, was in the dock. She came to his defense to oppose the women, sort of the Hillary Clinton of the legal world, I guess.
And then she ran away.
She ran away.
It'd be interesting to have her on the show. I'd love to hear the state of her view on this now. So, but where's everyone else? Where are the late night hosts in this?
Well, you know, Jimmy Kimmel and the rest. I mean, it's not just the news media. It is the broader mass media that has worked to essentially smooth things over for Harvey Weinstein in this case. I would suggest largely because of his association with the Democratic Party, and the news media and the mass media provide a protective cocoon for Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Chuck Schumer and all the other Democrats that have cozied up to Harvey Weinstein over the years, because it's impossible to believe that none of these people knew about this open secret that everyone has known about in Hollywood for decades, and in some cases finding out more recently, like Jane Fonda admitting that she found out a year ago, but she stayed silent because, and now she's ashamed of herself, not for betraying their country in the Vietnam War, but for not revealing the Harvey Weinstein secrets. And look, they have all known about it. It's been an open thing for years and years. All these people, you remember what, a few years ago at Penn State, Joe Paterno and Jerry Sandusky, it was discovered that Jerry Sandusky was doing terrible things. It was suggested that Joe Paterno had been made aware of it years earlier.
Yes.
And that he didn't come out and speak clearly and in a loud voice about what he had heard in the way of murmurs. And it was declared that he was just as guilty as Jerry Sandusky, that his silence was complicity, that he was to some extent responsible for the assaults that Jerry Sandusky committed after Joe Paterno learned it. They tore down the bronze statue of Joe Paterno at Penn State like he was Saddam Hussein. For the crime of silence. And now we hear a different set of circumstances, but the same fact pattern. And we hear that the people that are now speaking up after the fact, after we've all learned about it, are heroes. They're, you know, look, Jane Fonda is still a hero of the revolution and a feminist hero after remaining silent about Harvey Weinstein for more than a year after finding out about it. And she's not a standalone here by any stretch of the imagination. We've got producers, the studio heads. They've made jokes about it on 30 Rock. They made, years ago, they made jokes about it at the Seth, what's his name, at the Oscars, MacFarlane, at the Oscars, making jokes about it. Everybody knew what this guy was up to for years and years and years, but because of his party affiliation, Joe Paterno, a well-known conservative friend of George H.W. Bush, they lynched him, they crucified him because he didn't speak up. Now all these Hollywood people, we learned, didn't speak up in virtually identical circumstances, and they're heroes. They're literally being described as heroes. So I think
you've determined after 30 years in the news business that not all sex scandals are treated equally.
I think that you know, there are no two stories that are treated equally, and it's pretty easy to predict how these stories are going to go when they break.
And you do with unfailing accuracy every day. Chris Plant, thank you.
Thanks.
More and more people coming out admitting they knew pretty much what Harvey Weinstein was up to and yet said nothing. Jane Fonda now says she's ashamed for not going public with what she knew before. Listen.
I found out about Harvey about a year ago, and I'm ashamed that I didn't say anything right then.
Why didn't you? You're so bold.
I was not that bold because I guess it hadn't happened to me, and so I didn't feel it was my place.
Why didn't you? You're so bold. You're such a good person. Ugh. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton wishes people would stop talking about Harvey Weinstein, a major donor to her, and go after President Trump instead. At the same time, though, she says countless allegations against her husband are just old news.
This kind of behavior cannot be tolerated anywhere, whether it's in entertainment, politics. Well, you know, after all, we have someone admitting to being a sexual assaulter in the Oval Office.
And yet in your book, the three women brought onto stage by Trump attacking your husband, and you kind of dismissed them. Was that the right thing to do?